If you're tuning in after the live, just please make sure you hit that like button. And if you like my work, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Wow, 29 people in here, and all 29 of you hit the like button. That's pretty incredible. I know I don't have it in the title, but I saved this for today's update. So we'll talk about this in a little bit. So if you stay tuned, we'll go over this 5-page official document number 889. This is Ripple's reply. This is their opposition to the SEC. So it's been long anticipated. So we'll go over that together in a little bit during the live. We also have to do Winning Wednesdays tonight. So we'll probably go over that 5 pages after we do Winning Wednesdays. So we'll go over the chart. We'll get a very nice look at it. And then we'll figure out what we got to do from there. John Deaton says Judge Therese isn't going to approve it. Well, we'll see one way or another. I don't know. It's hard to listen to John Deaton. He says a lot of stuff, but you know, he's pretty much the best we got right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the chat to pull up on my phone. For some reason, it went back down. You know. But I do appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll talk about the charts, and then, like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot. This will be one of the more jam-packed ones that we'll have to go over today. Because, you know, it's one thing with the charts, and then we got this double bottom tap. So now we need to see what has to happen for this to stay. Hey, there we go, finally. So, real quick, I just want to say hi to the early comers. Holloman, Kyle, John, Driver, Flex RP, Hurrah, Nunya, Tanya, welcome in, love, Crypto Papa, Jacob, Jorge, Donald, Christopher, Jason McDonald. Who else is in here? Rockin' XRP Painter. And then Richard William, good evening. Justin Clark, Messi, Ectopi, Ken Plain. Pios Works TV, JS Shift TA, thank you so much for tuning in as well. Wondering if there's no volume in XRP, does the price go down until buyers start buying? That is what we'll talk about in just a second. Jason, welcome in. Nestor, Gypsy, Fiat, Eddie Lance, JS, Juan Brito. Tom's about to make this live stream. Appreciate that. Tim Bates, welcome in. XRP and CLT, welcome. Joseph, good evening. ATK7, they're 777s, welcome in. Lucky 7s. Sink Laundry, good evening. Mel Mack, welcome in. Jason Seta and Hayat, good evening. So, with XRP right now, we knew we had to at least come back down. And it's one of those things, is it going to be a double bottom? Or is it going to be for a further correction? John Patak, welcome in. Or Patak, Rock and Extra B Pennant, thanks for the shout out. Hope all is well, man. No problem, and thank you for tuning in. All is good. All is good. My son had a good physical therapy today, so that makes today a lot easier. Oh man, Julie went back inside. I was gonna ask her something, but it makes today a lot easier when he's accepting of his therapy. So it definitely helped out a lot. Like Jay said, hit that like button. Devin, welcome in. KKONG, good evening. Nice group in here tonight. As the clock just flips, that's why I wanted to come on tonight. I had to come on at a better time for the flip of the daily close. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna yell. She's inside. She's actually doing she's doing her she's making something. She's very talented when it comes to crocheting. Oh, INWV Tim, no problem. Yeah, I know ATK, but I would. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. So the daily close happened. So let's start from the daily candle and see what we're looking at here. So first step was to get back up. Remember what we talked about earlier, for anybody who was in the live stream, was to try to close the daily over 585. Well, first step, at least we did that. First step, we at least did that. And there's something that's we got to pay attention to. Volume here. A little bit more volume picked up here. What happens today? Is this another direct shot down? Or is this going to be the start of the recovery? That's what we keep asking ourselves. So, going to the 30-minute time frame. The first sign that we were going to get rejected, obviously, would have been to get rejected here. So we made it past here. We didn't let the 58 be resistance. It was just an overrun in the daily. So right now we have the daily close, and it's, do we come up or do we continue down? Well, right now we have no volume coming in, but that's not necessarily going to be the key indicator just yet. This right now, if we go into a higher time frame first, obviously we have to get over the 30-minute, and that's what we're trying to trend up to. But we should get up to 59 and at least do something. We got to do something at 59. That's what we're trying to trend to. But I'm looking more like the 2-hour time frame. And we'll see. That's a pretty big pull up. And you don't necessarily see a lot of volume on these immediate candles because this is still where it can pull down. So we're still consolidating. But I want to see a retest back up. This is going to have to retest higher up. Remember, we knew, or at least the reason why it kept tipping us off that we were not farther enough, we didn't come far enough down, is because the 4-hour time frame we had the dot cross and it wasn't satisfied. Well, now it's at least crossed back through, but this could signify an area of consolidation here still. Usually what happens here is you get a retest in the smaller time frames, whether it's on the 2-hour time frame, we come back up here, or it's just a quick rejection on the 30-minute. That's what we have to start with. So we need to see, right now this is starting off like another hook pattern, kind of like you're seeing here, boom, back up, back down, boom, back up, back. I mean, if it does that again, so first layer to get back above, and we're going to watch this during the live. We're going to have a lot of time. We're going to have a lot of time to watch this during the live. If it does break this, and it uses it as a resistance at all, if you ever see this as a resistance, even if it's not during the live, at 58 cents, your target's to come down here to about 545. So just pay attention to that. Yes, winning Wednesdays and FOMO Fridays. That's how we got to do it. Justin Clark, 59 cent is key now. 15 time frame showing resistance. Yep. It's going to show you that major resistance there on the 15. It's perfect at that level at 59 cents because that's the 20-day resistance, or that's the 20-day moving average in the 30-minute time frame. So now that's going to be the overwhelming resistance. So first of all, we got to get over that. That's first things first. So we're going to let this play out for a little bit because we can't do anything yet. We got to see if anybody steps in volume-wise. I will look at Bitcoin, though, because if you look at Bitcoin's pattern, we are becoming in a little bit of a dangerous spot here for Bitcoin. Because we all know if Bitcoin uses this area as resistance, right around here, 28,850, that could start a drop down to 25,194. However, until it happens, we'll just let it play out because it could still very easily bounce up off of this broadening wedge, but it is starting to play back through again. And if it comes down any farther, you could start to have a volatile spike down. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens, but just remember, during this live, we might see some interesting things. So we're either going to see a hell of a return rally here, and we're going to get some buyers to start stepping in, or we're going to get the first signs it's starting to come down. For XRP, until it starts breaking down, this could be a consolidatory dump. This could have been where it went for a sweep of liquidity. This is the area we pointed at for a long time, but we don't know. We don't know because we need a strong bounce. So, but as it goes, if we look at the weekly time frame, as we keep saying, and we'll continue to say, we had that golden cross and we have not retested the 20-day yet. So, and that would bring you down to around that 55 cent area. So is it possible that's what it's pointing at? We won't know. Daily support's down there as well, so it wouldn't be impossible to come down there. I mean, the monthly support's down there as well. But like I said, I would prefer not to lose this area, because once you lose this and come back into there, that's when you play a very dangerous game for XRP. And I prefer not to play it. I prefer not to play it. I think we've already had a nice correction, and I prefer for this to be the area of wealth. Otherwise, just crack through so that we can come, sub my buy-in by 20% so I can buy more and get on with it. That's fine. If I got to buy more, I'll buy more. I'm not going to complain about it. 100 people in here, really? That was quick. 71 likes. We're at a 71% win percentage right now. I don't know, 71% of what, a C average. I think we're better than a C average in this community. I think this community could give me at least a B plus. We're usually doing an A plus plus because we're over 100%. But you know, it does take time. And usually when I say this very line is what gets the ball rolling. If you don't want to hit the like button, you can, you know, send a YouTube super chat if you really appreciate my work that much and you prefer to send me a small donation instead of hitting the like button. That is always a possibility. But I suggest you just hit the like button because it's free. Or if you are really trying to go, you know, that much extra and pay that extra support, you can join Tom's Army. For the pure fact that I don't do any paid advertisement, paid promotions, or paid sponsorships of any kind, and I don't charge for any of my content behind the paywall. Or you can just hit the like button, you know. So that's the most advertisement you'll ever get out of my channel. But, you know, I got to do it every once in a while. Let's see what happens. There we go. We're getting closer to that 80% mark now. Oh, now we're getting closer. Now we're doing better. It usually works when I just say that, so I like that. I like that little line. So anybody who's in here, while we let this pattern play out a little bit, because we need to see how this candle plays out, not in the 4-hourly. Although that's a nice pull up in the 4-hourly. A lot of that sell pressure got eaten up. We need something here. This doesn't look that great. Not great at all in the 30-minute. Lewis, should you buy more or wait? Well, I am not a financial advisor, so you, my friend, are going to have to make that decision. As I don't make that call for you. All I can tell you is if you're going to buy here, you just make sure that it's going to hold the support. This is one of those things, if you haven't bought in yet, and this is your area you want to buy, if you buy in here, you got to buy it every 20% down. So it's either, do you buy it here and then buy a little bit more here, or do you buy it here and not even more, even if it hits here, because it's not 20% down? You know, this is kind of the oh boy area. If I wasn't in yet, yeah, you could test it here, but I would probably wait until it went to the weekly if it was going to fall down. But yeah, anything under $1 is good. I'm just saying, it's a tough call. It's a tough call, rocking XRP Painter. If you're going to buy in right away, because that's not my portfolio, and I don't know what he's working with. I think 58 cents, so like I've told a lot of people, that we're going to buy at 65 and 75. I said if I was going to buy in the first time, I would not buy in until it came down to this 58 cent mark, because that was a all but guaranteed spot of consolidation just because of the area it's at. And it was putting in this bullish handle on the cup, which can come down farther. But this was the area that it looked like it was coming down to. This was the double top breakout point, which was resisted on many times, I believe 3 times. And it had volatile spikes down and back up and was getting rejected still. And on the 4th time it broke out. So now to come down here as a test of support is very often happens. Now you have the ascending triangle breakout point, so that's also an area. We need spot approval for Bitcoin to blow this out of the water. I mean, that'd be a step in the right direction, but the rumor is that's not happening until 2024, Tanya. So we'll see what happens there. Look at the support and resistance, Lewis lines. Hey, thank you, ATK, so much for the $10 donation. I greatly appreciate you paying it forward. Don't let me be the only one doing this. Hey, you know, it is what it is, ATK. I am not a person who really talks about all the donations and stuff that often. So I always appreciate if somebody does pay it forward. Because I know I do put a lot of time into it. But, you know, I put a lot of time in for all of us. It keeps me on the right page. It keeps you on the right page. I know you know, ATK. But I appreciate the sentiment. I do. Now that the sun went down, that's kind of nice. Actually, it's kind of still hitting my eye. See, that sucks. I would keep my hat off, but it's kind of hitting my eye. Is sub a dub XRP still on the table in your... Is sub a dub? Like, what do you mean sub a dub? Do you mean like... Hey, look at this. Louis Miguel Baguette Duke. Thanks for the $9.99. I appreciate that with the number 1 on there. I do appreciate that. And Justin Clark with $10 donation. I really appreciate that as well. Wow. Look what you did, ATK. You got a little bit of a rally going. Thank you all so much. I appreciate that, Justin and Lewis and ATK. And I love the number 1s too. This community is number 1. Yeah, so I see you Puentes of 20 cents. I figured that's what you're talking about. That still has always been a 50-50 proposition. I know it sounds crazy, but it really is at this point a 50-50 proposition. Crypto Jimmy, welcome in. I appreciate you tuning in this evening. And Justin Clark, you're welcome. I took some advice and made a lot of money this morning. Ooh, that's what I like to hear. So I always say I'd rather you guys donate because I've done something for you. That's a good reason to do it. Appreciate you keeping me in mind. Crypto Jimmy, did I get your message? I don't know. I don't know. Did you send me a message on through email or something? I have not checked my email. So if you sent an email, no, I did not. Digging the long hair, let it grow out like a samurai. Well, remember what we talked about during one of the updates. I talked about, should I let my hair grow until XRP at all-time highs? And Julie was on board for it. So that's something that I've been discussing. The last time I got it cut was third week of June. So I think it'd be funny if I didn't cut it until XRP at all-time highs, because then if somebody said, well, how long have you been waiting? Imagine if my hair was down to my shoulders, which I did do one time when I was with Julie, before 2014, I believe it was, or 2016, I don't remember which one. It's like 6-7 years ago. I had my hair down to my shoulders, basically. So I think that'd be fun. What are we looking for right now? You said something about 57 cents being a consolidation point. 58 cents. My hat says Yeshua. You know, basically the way I describe it is, it's like the English version of Jesus or Joseph, I guess you could say. So like the Greek Jesus and the English Joseph, if I'm saying it right. Have the aliens landed yet? Nationwide power outage or World War 3 started yet? Keep the faith, everyone. Time is a fantastic healer. Yeah. I mean, the alien invasion hasn't started yet, but by God, everybody's talking about it. So, I mean, you know, this is one of those cases. Don't believe everything you see when you look up. But I've said too much. So anyhow, yes, with the 58 cents, the 58 cents, we're looking right here. If this were to get rejected, it's right at 58 cents, like solidly 58 cents. If that gets a rejection, that's how you would fall some 7%, or what is it, about 6% down to the 545 area. But that's the ascending triangle breakout, and that's also the weekly support on the 20 days. So I don't want to go down there, though. I'm just being transparent. I don't want to go down there because there's too many bad things that can happen there. You know, I got a lot of weak hands down there. So if you fall back into there, then it's one of those things. Then I'll be rooting for a bigger dump. If we break back into that formation, I'll just be rooting for the bottom to fall out. So then I can buy more. Ooh, if bulls step in, we got a big rally coming very quickly. If bulls were to step in this position, immediately you would get a surge here. And you'd probably, first level, you'd have a 5% pump. But you'd be coming up rather quickly, about 9.4%, and you'd have to retest that area. See that uptrending resistance? That is your major resistance, and we've created an inside-out wedge, as I like to call it. No different than a broadening wedge. It's just created with the a little bit of different perspective here. It's a downtrending support and an uptrending resistance starting and ending at the same point. I know it sounds crazy, but this is something I taught myself, and it's the only way I can explain it. So, and it might sound ridiculous, but it works for me. This actually taught me the broadening wedge, believe it or not. I'm like, that looks like some kind of wedge in real life. And I just call it the inside out wedge. Anybody who's new to the channel, when I was starting 2.5 years ago doing this, wait a minute, was it 2.5 years ago? Holy shit, I've been doing this 2.5 years and I've never taken a day off. No wonder everything's so close together. But I used to call it the inside out wedge, and I still do. But for me, all that meant, see this downtrending support, see how this last hit of support here? Or not last, but you see how this support created a new uptrend? When that happens, it creates an inside-out wedge, especially if it gets validated, because then you can keep the uptrend going. So it created what looks like an inside-out wedge. And why it's so ridiculous is that when it happens, this breaks, and then this will, if it uses it as resistance, it comes back down, and the support, you guess it, is at the wedge. But that's not how this wedge was created, because you had the uptrend here, you had it down here, but this is what gave me my 2 points, and then it created the inside-out wedge after this broadening wedge. So that is how I came up with that. And that's how I knew the drop would be from there to there if it got resistance. That's how I taught myself a long time ago, before I started on YouTube. But obviously it created a broadening wedge there, as we can see. But I call it an inside-out wedge, if it does it in that kind of a formation. But that's just like a mid-tier resistance. But now that becomes the overwhelming resistance. And in order for XRP to get bullish again, and I know it sucks, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, what happens if it just breaks up a little bit? It still doesn't mean it's bullish. And my XRP other chart is gone. So, but 77 cents. Oh, it just deleted the chart we were on. See that? In real time, you guys got to see it. It deleted the chart I was using. See how it likes to mess with me? Always that chart. It deleted my Binance chart. It does it every single time we're on live. I don't know why. I think it thinks it's going to make me mad. You know, the universe is trying to toy with me. But, you know, we're past that. This is a, takes 2 seconds to rectify the circumstance. So what I was saying is, XRP, 77 cents, and the reason why it's so easy to see. We never broke out yet. As much as we want to think we broke out in the all-time pattern, it's my all-time chart, by the way. This uptrend right here is 2020, followed by 2017, followed by 2013. So, see how it came up here? It never broke it. Resistance back here on September 5th, 2021. Another resistance November 2021. This is the bull run. This is where the bull run legitimately came to an end, because we couldn't come back up after a monumental breakdown to like 52 cents. Then we came back up. Now we're still in that same formation. We broke out of a short-term formation, which said we could have a run up here, and that wouldn't even mean dick. You need to break over that area and then hold. So now if we do it over here, which we got rejected at, see, we broke up, came back down. Right now we'd need to break, it's approximately 77 cents over here. Yeah, 77 cents if it was done in September. So, yes, Nick, I am still on Telegram. You gotta, if you have my email, send me an email. I'll send you it. It's for the members who joined Tom's Army. I had to create something so y'all could stay together. So, Prana, I don't like price predictions, because price predictions they don't mean anything. Because then no matter what I say, even if the technical analysis is good, it's one of those things. I'll just say if XRP breaks out, you know, I don't even know. That one's in the wrong spot. Thank you, Julie. If XRP, this is supposed to be down here. See, we had this problem earlier. My stuff got moved around. But if XRP were to break out and hold this formation from right here, you could have a nice spike. It was up to about $1.68. But that would be, that's in August of 24. So, I mean, that's one good thing to listen to. That could be a nice breakout if this were to follow all the way through. Nobody wants to say we're going to sit here for another year, and neither do I. That's why I don't show this formation. That's why I don't want to show this formation. If it breaks down, if this were to break down the formation we're on right now and we lose... so, watch this. I like these questions. So, if this breaks down, and see this ascending triangle breakout, let's say we come down here, and this is why it's... Oh, that's the market cap. Man, it's really messing with me now. Look at that. It didn't even keep the XRP Binance one on. Isn't that crazy? Like, why? For what reason would it take it off again? So, like I was trying to say, maybe it didn't take it off. I don't know. But the XRP Binance one, this chart, the short-term chart, if we break the ascending triangle pattern right here, that's why it scares me. You break 51 cents approximately. If it comes in here, it's like 49.4 and use that as resistance. That's how you get down to the 2020 uptrend. I think it's 20. It's either 2020, 2021. But that's how you get down to that 37 cents. All it takes is a breakdown from here and losing this ascending triangle. Then you firmly have to go back to the all-time pattern. The next support on deck, real support, is actually down here. I mean, that's how real it can get very quickly. And and we're firmly within this formation. So it's just, what do you do? What do you do? So while everybody's here, I don't know how many people are still sticking around listening to my mumbo jumbo. Okay, a lot more than I thought. 144 people in here, 109 likes. I appreciate that, but please make sure to hit that like button, as it does help push me through the analytics. But I have some of the stuff that's breaking here in the last few hours. So I know we've all been anticipating Ripple's response or their objection. So that was filed we've got word of it just about an hour and a half ago. So this is official document number 889, filed on 8/16/2023. So maybe I should give you a little bit of a backstory here. So Ripple Labs bites back against SEC's request to file appeal. So I'm going to hit the play button, let you guys listen to the 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and I'm not going to talk. I'm going to give my voice a rest because I got to read through 5 pages with you guys right here, through 5 official documents, through a 5-page official document. So this will give you a backstory real quick.
Ripple Labs fights back against SEC's request to file appeal. Ripple Labs has voiced its opposition towards the United States securities regulators' move towards filing an interlocutory appeal relating to the summary judgment laid down by U.S. District Court Annalisa Torres on July 13th. In an August 16th letter to Torres of the Southern District of New York,
have a good one,
Ripple's
Justin.
lawyers explained that because the Securities and Exchange Commission failed to satisfy elements of the Howey test relating to Ripple's distribution of XRP, a legal question, the court should reject the SEC's motion for leave to file an interlocutory appeal. An interlocutory appeal occurs when a ruling by a trial court is appealed while other aspects of the case are still proceeding and are only allowed under specific circumstances. Ripple's lawyers believe it is more appropriate for the SEC to appeal the court's ruling after a final judgment with a full record. Ripple Labs officially opposes the SEC's move to file an appeal in a letter to U.S. Judge Annalisa Torres. Source: court listener. Stuart Aldarity, Ripple's chief legal officer, explained that no extraordinary circumstance exists in the matter that warrants the court to depart from normal legal procedure. There is no extraordinary circumstance here that would justify departing from the rule requiring all issues as to all parties to be resolved before an appeal. We oppose the SEC's request for an interlocutory appeal. There is no extraordinary circumstance here that would justify departing from the rule requiring all issues as to all parties to be resolved before an appeal. https://d.co/newisk.st. Stuart Aldarity, at
Okay, so that gives you a little bit of a backstory. So let's go through the 5-page official documents here. And please, if you're just tuning in, make sure to hit that like button, as it'll help push this through the analytics. Make sure you share this far and wide too, so more people can see this, as this just came out today, a few hours ago actually. I think it was about 3.5 hours ago my time. So this is official document number 889, filed on August 16th, 2023. This is page 1 of 5. Miss Vicky, welcome in, love. I'm so glad to see you in. Really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll go back into the chart after this, but this is going to take up a portion of the live here, as we've already been on 28 minutes, but now we got to go through this. This is the breaking news. So ECF, Honorable Annalisa Torres, United States District Court, Southern District of New York. This SEC versus Ripple Labs. Dear Judge Torres, Defendant Ripple Labs, Inc., Ripple, Bradley Garlinghouse, and Christian Larson, individual defendants, collectively defendants, oppose the SEC's anticipated motion for leave to file an interlocutory appeal as to those portions of the court's July 13, 2023 order ECF number 874, order granting defendant summary judgment. Good evening, Omar. Welcome in. Glad you could make it. For years, the SEC has proposed a strategy, or pursued a strategy, of regulating the U.S. crypto industry through case-by-case enforcement. I suppose if you have any relaxation, if you have cannabis is legal where you're at, now would be the time to relax with me, because this is going to take a little bit of relaxation. So if you are not opposed to that, I welcome you to join me. As I always say, light them up if you got them. And real quick, let's just step in here. Let's just step in here before I put anybody to sleep. And let's do our Winning Wednesdays real quick. I know I do this by surprise every week, but we'll get back to what we were just reading because it's going to take a minute. So on Algo, we do $75 a week in Algo. And then we'll get back into that. So Algo, this week we're going to have a purchase at 1026, a much better purchase this week. This is what we were hoping for when we started buying algo, as we're hoping that this is in this descending triangle and this formation continues on, and it looks like it is. So we're hoping to buy it all the way through here. As far as it decides to go, we don't really care where. I just don't want it to break out of the 12.57. I prefer to buy it around the 10-cent area or better. But so far, we've got about an 11-cent average. So let's get on uphold. We'll do our $75, and then we're going to go back into that. So can you please let me know in the chat if you're participating in Winning Wednesdays. As so far on Winning Wednesdays, we've accumulated 2,663 algo, and we've done, how many weeks have we done? We've done, this is our 5th week now. This is our 5th week on algo. So let's buy right now. And this is the beauty of it. You get to see how this works, stacking in week after week after week. If anybody remembers winning or FOMO Fridays on H-Bar, we were down like something like, I don't know, 11 or 12% by the time we got through the 10 weeks or 9 weeks. And we ended up with a 5.2 average. It ended up working itself out by the end of it. And now it's up to like 6.3, 6.4. So it's nice to have a buying strategy when it looks like it's at a bottom of a formation. And then you see how it works out after. So now $75 for algo this week, as it's a lot cheaper this week than it was last week. This will put us well over 3,000 now. So this week we will get, I'm going to do $76 to cover the 99 cents. You get 718.9 algo. I'm going to preview trade. I'm going to buy trade, and I'm going to show you after, which puts an actual $75.01 towards the purchase, which is what I want, 75 a week. And now with algo, we have, look at it, it's confirmed. Oh, here we go. We have 3,382 algo. Our average price is 11,162.4. Today it gave it to us for, what was it today? 11, I don't even know. I don't even care what it gave it to us for. Whatever it decided to do on uphold. But it gave us 719. That's the most. We've had 662, 657, 695, 645, and 719 on all equal purchases. And now that's what we own right now for algo. And yes, you're going to have to reverse it yourself. So yes, thank you all for tuning in on Winning Wednesdays. And just this formation right now, we're in this descending triangle. It's a multi-tier formation. We have it from every angle right now. So if you get rejected here, you'll probably come back down to the 666. But if it can hold this support, you'll get a volatile spike back up here to 12.5. So we're still firmly watching that. The daily time frame, it's still, came down a little bit below it. That's interesting. We're gonna see. It's very unstable right now. No, but it still hasn't broke back down under the support. So we'll watch very closely with that. So XRP still hanging around 587. But now let's get back into this. If you bought in on Winning Wednesdays, I appreciate it. I know some people will leave, but hey, we got a program to run here, and we have a nice community running here. You were talking about algo. I've been accumulating that project like crazy. I would suggest that you do the same. Best wishes. Oh, Mr. Anderson, thanks for answering some questions. I'm definitely in on your algo purchases. I love algo. Thanks, Mr. Anderson. I appreciate that. Miss Vicky, thank you so much. Hi, Tom. Where do I find your email address so I can get involved in the Telegram for members? Here you go, my friend. Already in Tom's Army. I don't know why it didn't put a link. I don't know. It's not putting the link in there right now. I'll only try it one more time. Usually it puts a link so you can just click on it. Who knows? That's the email. So anyhow, let's continue reading this. So, defendants Ripple Labs Inc. So we just read that part. But we'll start over for anybody who stuck around. Hey, this isn't the most interesting stuff, but this is the stuff that matters. And why so many people would leave just because we're not doing the charts anymore? Don't you want to know what's really going on? Don't you want to know what to expect? I mean, this is the part you want to know, the nuts and bolts. This would be like trying to put a car together but not knowing where anything goes. Like, it makes no sense. Dear Judge Strauss, defendants Ripple Labs, Inc., Ripple, Bradley, Garlinghouse, and Christian Larson's individual defendants, collectively defendants, oppose the SEC's anticipated motion for leave to file an interlocutory appeal as to those portions of the court's July 13, 2023 order, ECF number 874, order granting defendant summary judgment. For years, the SEC has pursued a strategy of regulating the U.S. crypto industry through case-by-case enforcement. In keeping with the strategy, the SEC argued that the only question before the court was the application of the Howey test to the specific circumstances of this case, having failed to meet its burden to present facts that would support stretching Howey to cover all of the defendant's distributions of the digital asset XRP. The SEC now does an about-face and rushes to appeal what it claims at one is a purely legal question affecting all other digital assets. The court should reject this gambit because the SEC raised no such questions. The SEC can appeal the court's decision in the normal course after a final judgment with the full record. Section 1292B is a rare exception to the final judgment rule. Kohler v. Banks of Bermuda Ltd, yada yada yada, circa 1996. Only exceptional circumstances will justify departure from the basic policy of postponing appellate review until after the entry of a final. Defendants do not object to the SEC's proposed briefing schedule should the court determine that the SEC's request warrants further consideration. The individual defendants write separately to address the SEC's request for a stay pending appeal. 2, by contrast, defendants raise a legal question about the scope of the term investment contract to construct in Howey, or as construed in Howey, and whether it can be applied where there is no contract between the buyer and the seller that grants rights to the buyer and imposes obligations on the seller. If the SEC is permitted to appeal, the defendants will seek to cross-appeal on the issue as well as the fact-bound portion of the court's order, finding liability for certain transactions. This is going to get messy if this is the case. Real messy. This is page 2. So those exceptions, 1, the court's order does not involve a controlling question of law. Section 1292B appeal requires a pure question of law that the reviewing court could decide quickly and cleanly without having to study the record. And then you guys can read all the other stuff. I'm not going to read like the hyphenated stuff just for time purposes. Hey Richard, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Nick, thank you so much for participating in Winning Wednesdays. I really appreciate that. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I know it's the boring stuff, but this has to be said. You have to understand this. Where is it? The questions presented for an interlocutory appeal would require the Second Circuit to review this court's applications of the law to the facts presented by the parties. They do not present issues of pure law and therefore are not appropriate for interlocutory review. Defendants could not satisfy the first prong of the analysis because appellate review would be fact-intensive. The SEC's challenge does not raise a pure question of law. The court's holdings that defendants' programmatic sales, as well as Ripple's other distributions, were not the offer of sale of an investment contract, applied Howey's legal standard to an extensive factual record. The totality of circumstances surrounding defendants' different transactions. Courts routinely describe the application of Howey as a highly fact-specific inquiry. Indeed, the SEC has said just that in this court repeatedly. Whether or not a particular transaction involves the offer and sale of a security will depend on the facts and circumstances. Howey must be applied to the facts and circumstances at hand, and it submitted more than 1,600 factual assertions that it claimed were relevant and material to the court's decision. What? That's okay. Let's see. Because the questions the SEC presents for interlocutory appeal would require the Second Circuit to review the court's application of the law to the evidence adduced in defendant's summary motion, an interlocutory appeal is appropriate, or is inappropriate. The SEC's questions presented are not controlling issues of law because they apply only to part of the case. This issue does not present a controlling question of law, as a reversal of this part of the prior decision would neither expedite nor terminate the action. And then number 2, the SEC cannot show a substantial ground for difference of opinion. And if you're just tuning in, this is XRP's objection here to the SEC's asking if they can file an interlocutory appeal. To meet the second condition for certification, the SEC must do more than just claim that the court's ruling was wrong. It must show that the courts are in clear conflict with one another on the subject, and that the issue is particularly difficult and of first impression. Such conflict must go to the underlying legal rule. Merely quibbling with the court's application of the facts to the law does not suffice. But that is all the SEC purports to do here. The SEC's position has long been that this case is simply a straightforward application of a well-settled legal test. Don't forget the like button. Oh, most people will leave during this. That's why I saved this to the end. After this, I'll probably be done. But I saved this for the end because I know most people leave when it gets to the nitty-gritty. So I like to share this at the end. So most people know what's happening here. Once I get done reading this, I'm probably going to be done. So the SEC's contention that this court reached the wrong result in applying that test does not show any difference of opinion about an underlying legal rule. Oh yes, it's definitely the juicy stuff, Flex RP. But it's been my experience that most people don't like to see the juicy stuff for some reason. The supposed interdistrict split, which the SEC points is illustrative. The SEC argues that SEC v. TFAM Labs. Oh, wait a minute. No intra-district split where supposedly conflicting decisions were based. The SEC argues that SEC versus TFAM Labs expressly reject the distinction between programmatic and institutional purchases that the court drew in the order, but the court in TFAM agreed with this court that sales of digital assets alone are not inherently security offerings. There is no intra-district split over whether digital assets standing alone can be investment contracts, whether the Howey test applies, or how the Howey test should be applied to the defendant's offers and sale of XRP based on the record presented at summary judgment. While this court's holdings rested on record evidence at summary judgment, while the court's holding rested on record evidence at summary judgment that Ripple made no promises or offers to purchasers in programmatic sales, see order at 2425 and TFAM the court, as it must on a motion to dismiss, took as true the SEC's allegation that TFAM and its founder promised all purchases rates of returns of 19 to 20% on the coin owner's initial investment. The amended complaint allegations are taken as true. The defendants embarked on a public campaign to discourage both retail and institutional investors to buy their crypto assets. These representations would presumably have reached individuals who purchased their crypto assets on secondary markets. Emphasis added. The factual and procedural postures of the two cases are thus different, as the SEC itself has argued, distinguishing this court's ruling based on the factual findings that retail investors did not necessarily know that they were investing into Ripple's efforts. Then it tells you all the stuff to see. Nor is there any potential for a split with a large number of pending litigations where the alleged investment contracts were offered and sold by issuers on crypto asset trading platforms or for non-cash consideration, as the SEC suggests at 3, because each case involves different assets offered and sold under different facts and circumstances. If the SEC fails to meet its burden under the Howey and other cases as it did here, its claim will fail. The SEC's reliance on Zakanoff v. Ripple Labs, Inc., 2023, yada, 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 and similarly unveiling Zakanoff concerned class certification. That court has not yet ruled on the merits of the Howey question. Tellingly, the SEC did not even identify it for this court as relevant supplemental authority after it was decided LBRY, contrary to the SEC suggestion, did not address Howey's investment of money prong as this court did for the other, just as this court, and number 3, just as this court found that XRP is not in and of itself an investment contract. The TFAM court made clear that the tokens at issue in that case, when considered in isolation, might then have been by themselves investment contracts. We got one more actual page to read here, and then we're done. The fifth page is just the dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So, Honorable Annalisa Torres, August 16, 2023, page 4. Distributions. It focused only on the token's utility under Howey's third prong and agreed that the test outlined in Howey is necessarily a fact-specific one. Different results in fact-specific inquiries do not suffice. 3. Let's see how many people stuck it out. 89 people stuck it out. I applaud you. I know this is not the most appealing stuff, but this is the nuts and bolts, and this is how you know what's going on for real. You see what Ripple's position is here. This is their actual opposition here to the SEC's request for an interlocutory appeal. Well, not a request, but to see if they could even request an interlocutory appeal. An immediate appeal will not advance the termination of this litigation. Hey, I appreciate that, Devin. Jose, watch, recycle, repeat. Indeed. Nick, I enjoy when you read it, the work, or read it. Very helpful. I appreciate that, Nick. Thank you very much. An immediate appeal will not advance the termination of this litigation. And I know it's hard to read all of this, so when I'm reading it to all you, at least I'm going through it. And then for all of you who don't want to read it word for word, you can just listen to me read it. Miss Vicky, I appreciate that. Love this info, Tom. Thank you so much. Dean, learn every night with Tom. Yes, indeed. Devin's the second person who says Bitcoin is taking the old... We're going to take a look at Bitcoin after. No problem, Rachel. I appreciate you tuning in, love. I really appreciate it. You finish your dinner, and you can just listen because we're just finishing talking about... This is Ripple's opposition here. We'll take a look at XRP right after this. I got to finish reading this. Terry, welcome in as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. An immediate appeal will not advance the termination of this litigation. Interlocutory appeal is unwarranted where reversal would not terminate the litigation. That is the case here. Even if the Second Circuit were to side with the SEC on the question it seeks to present, that would not end the case. The result would simply be a remand to this court to further evaluate various other issues, such as defendant's fair notice defense, which the court expressly did not reach. Noting that the SEC's theories as to programmatic sales and other distributions are potentially inconsistent with its prior enforcement, but declining to resolve issues. First and second Howey prongs as to programmatic sales, second and third Howey prongs as to the other distributions. Even putting aside those unresolved liability questions, the SEC at 2 and 4 admits that the remedial phase of the litigation will raise an array of factual and legal issues and involve additional motion practice and discovery that will occur even if the SEC wins an immediate appeal. Accordingly, appellate reversal would not terminate the litigation because the question of damages would remain. What's more, that array of factual and legal remedial issues will give rise to distinct appellate questions that the SEC's current issues or appeal will not address. As such, not only would interlocutory appeal fail to shorten the remedial phase proceedings, it would likely produce disfavored piecemeal appeals. The factual and legal issues raised in the remedies one of those things. The factual and legal issues raised in the remedies phase also will inform review on appeal. For example, as the SEC concedes at 2, further fact development is necessary to determine which of the defendants' offers and sales of XRP qualify as institutional sales and whether the SEC lacks jurisdiction over any of those transactions under Morrison v. National Australia Bank. The court has not yet ruled on these issues, and their resolution will impact the Second Circuit review. In addition, to the extent the SEC will later seek the court's consideration of post-complaint ODL sales to sophisticated commercial counterparties to facilitate cross-border transactions. In the remedies phase, the court has not yet ruled on whether those post-complaint sales are violative of the securities laws. It is far more efficient to proceed in the ordinary course to judgment, permitting a single round of appellate review on a complete record. Rejection certification in light of pending damages trial. The SEC cites at 1 and 4, or page 1 and 4, I don't know what the hell. This court's decision in SEC v. Rio Tinto PLC 2021, yada, 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 Southern District of New York, May 11, 2021. But that case concerned a purely legal issue at the motion to dismiss stage, raising the prospect of 2 merits-based trials. That concern is not present here, as the SEC concedes all Section 5 liability claims have been adjudicated. So, there we go. We dotted our I's and crossed our T's. Bitcoin is in fact taking a dump. XRP is kind of still where we're at. We know where Bitcoin's going. We're going to have to still come back here and get a rejection if it's not more than just a fake out here. But if Bitcoin does get the rejection and we get the actual signal, you could get a dump all the way down to here to 25,194 is the technical target for Bitcoin. Our Aussie dollar is down to about 64 cents. Wow. Yeah, that's because the US dollar is overinflated. Look at it. Everybody thinks that crypto is just kind of dumping right now. That's because the US dollar is, and I told everybody this was a possibility to come up here just because with what's going on the 22nd, they're going to try to make the US dollar look as good as possible. Right now, our first level we've gotten past in the daily. Now we got a bullish cross here. Now do we get past 103 spot 666? If we do and hold it, we got nothing until 105.30. So get ready. Get ready. Get ready for some interesting stuff here. 10-year yield as well didn't like things today. It's at the highest level in like 15 years. So we're approaching some dangerous times here. XRP, before I leave, remember that 58 cents, if you use that as resistance at any time, that 58 cents will tell you everything. If this is used as a resistance, this will give you a signal for a 6% drop approximately down to the ascending triangle breakout point, which is at about 545. So pay attention to that. If you fall back within that, it can be very dangerous as you only have one little layer of support here to finish this ascending pattern out. And if you fall back into there, that could go for some time. But if we lose this formation, you might as well just, hey, we're coming down, we'll see what happens, but then you firmly have to look at this pattern again, because if, and this is the all-time pattern, if you lose the 585, the 545, then you'd come into that ascending triangle. And once you lose it, I believe it's about 46 cents, then you firmly are back into this rotation, and this is the pattern we're actually in. We're just in a short-term phase on the other chart, but this is actually the all-time chart. So we've been stuck in here. That's why we didn't do anything yet. XRP just ba-bam, 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 and it never broke out. So now if it breaks this area, that would mean that this is going to be a failed bull flag, which it's not yet. If you look at it in the grand scale, it could still pop way up. But if it breaks below these areas I just talked about, then you'd come back to about approximately the 2020, 2021 uptrend at about 37 cents. So that is how it becomes a more dire situation. As it is, we still have the cup and handle. Now we're trying to put the bullish handle on the cup. And as we know, I talked about for the XRP market cap, if at any time we use that 30.89 billion as a resistance, that would give us our resistance, and then that would give us the signal down to 28.5 billion. That's how XRP would end up at 54.5 cents. Other than that, you could have a parabolic spike out of here, but we would desperately need the bull's help. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I really appreciate everybody. If you got any questions, now would be the time to ask. If you would hit that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. If you want to send a YouTube super chat or join Tom's Army to show me support for being here every single day and just to pay it forward because you want to do that, that is completely up to you. I think we've covered everything tonight. That's about all I can really, that's about all I got. That's about all I got. That's all I got. So I'll listen to some questions here. Oh, XLM. What am I talking about? XLM. Remember we talked about the 12.5? We're there. Now we're dealing with it. We pointed out this a long time ago that we were going to use this. See, it doesn't matter the overextension. This is your pivotal point. If we lose 12.5 and reject on it, then you got to come all the way down to 10.4. So, Jason, yes, 52. Interesting, 52. Do you see Casper dropping down to 0.033? So you guys see what's going on with XLM. So, in Gales, if we reject 12.5, if we hold it, then we might come back up. But if we reject it, then your next level is going to be way down here. That's another 20-something%. Casper, kind of coming to 3.3. Casper's doing exactly what we want. I'm very happy about this. Remember, we didn't want it to break out. We were very, very upset when it started doing that. We want it to continue riding down and come down as low as it can for us. Kind of come to 3.3. Well, I mean, if we just break through the support, the next logical support is about 3.5. But then we got a myriad of things that we've got to actually draw through here, because then you're going to start coming through different layers. But we got a lot of stuff going on with Casper. We're farther down in the pattern now. But we buy Casper on FOMO Fridays. We have over 6,000 tokens right now as a community. We're on our way to 10,000. So yeah, I mean, it's stuck within that little falling little channel area, but it's really just a big descending triangle. These are just areas of support or resistance depending on which part of the pattern it's in. So just extend it out, that's all. Zill still in this formation. It fell out. And we talked about if it falls out and it has to come down, your next layer of support's 1564, because we're in a much wider formation. This is what happened in a lot of the formations. They just fell out. They faked out and then fell out. But they're in much bigger formations, just like XRP. This is a much bigger formation. That's why, unless we break out, and this isn't a falling channel that's trying to start using an uptrending support here. But if it breaks through this, I mean, you're talking about, you could possibly come down to 2 cents. I mean, 0.2 of a cent. But that's in worst case scenario down there. I mean, so we'll see. We'll see. So, that's what I got, everybody. Any last second questions? Any last second questions? Just a question before you sleep. What is that? We've lost 4 trillion in the... What? I gotta read that again. That didn't... That... Hold on, let me read this again. Welcome to a world of... Terry, we have lost 4 trillion in market liquidity since January 1st. More pain coming from the Feds and more liquidity contraction. Will be tougher volume. Oh, okay, I gotcha. What's actually our plan here? What are the possible dates we are waiting for, like next year? I've been very specific. Very specific. I say it almost every single time I'm on. 2025 is your first area where you can expect, and it can happen before, but 2025 is an area where you'd expect some kind of parabolic spike or the start of a real bull market. Otherwise, we're accumulating and doing all this through many different sectors, and our end game is in 2028. Because as I'll say again, for some reason it gets not a lot of people hear when I say it, and I say it every single time. Maybe people don't want to hear it. The last financial institution and or bank that can use the old HTML framework is in some point of 2028 with all these extensions. So the end game, as I've said, I'm going to be 40 this year in December. That puts me firmly at about 44 years old when this happens. I'm still going to be young enough in 2028. Some people are older, and I understand that. But to me, 2028 is when you're looking at the huge expansion in crypto, because it's just going to have to go that way. But as I've stated before, it can go a lot quicker with the smart cities popping up for one reason or another. This can happen so much before then. So I appreciate everybody. I gotta go check on my son. Gotta go check on Julie. So I'll say goodbye to everybody on the way out. And for anybody who likes this song, and some do, some don't, I'm going to play Sunny Days on the way out. Not me singing it. It is me singing it, but it's somebody from the audience who copied it. So if you don't like this, I give you a fair warning so you can get out. I mean, if I can even find it. Ah, here we go. Sunny days. Sunny days. Here again. Sunny days. Here again. Sunny days. Here. Wait a minute. I can do better than that. I should be drawing while I'm doing this, see? I should be drawing this. That's the only thing I did wrong here. Here, we'll do it on Shiba. Now who's ever here is going to have to hear it from the beginning. Sunny days. Sunny days. Here again. Sunny days. Here again. Sunny days. Here again. Sunny days. Here again. I wear glasses 'cause I'm so cool. I can predict the charts. Sunny days, here again. Sunny days, here again. Sunny days, here again. Sunny days. Join Tom's Army for $9.99.